Social media. I'm convinced that nobody actually likes it. And if you clicked on this video, you probably have the same kind of feelings. It's something that's become so ingrained in society that people almost think that you're a strange person if you say, well, I'm not on social media. But I do think that it's become such a toxic and unhealthy thing. And I see all the time people talking about, I'm taking a week off social media, I'm having a social media break. You do not need to take breaks from things that are good for you. You wouldn't end a romantic relationship if it was like very healthy and positive, and similarly, you wouldn't take a break from social media if it was something that actually served you in any way. Let's face the facts. And Matt Dahlia, who was one of the co-founding members of Yes Theory, and if you don't know who Yes Theory are, what are you doing? He talked about on a podcast, which I'll link below, how social media is very much like a toxic relationship. And when you're in it, you just feel bad all the time. You just feel like shit. But then once you leave it, all you can think about is the good moments, and then you want to go back to it again. And it's just like this never ending cycle, like a bad relationship where you keep breaking up or getting back together. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the main reasons why I don't like social media and why I think you might want to reassess your relationship with it. And then I'm going to talk about what I do instead so that I don't become a total like social recluse. So let's get straight into it. Reason one why I will never go on social media again is because I think it puts us in a really toxic state of comparison with each other, and really this constant not enoughness. Because no matter how much you do, there will always be someone who is doing more than you. So psychologically, it's always going to make you feel inadequate. Even if you go and run a marathon, you're going to see somebody who's run a double marathon, or they've like gone and done a triathlon. Even if you are like doing really well on an instrument, let's say, there's going to be some 5-year-old who is doing way better than you.
There we go.
And that is constantly like put in your face. And it kind of makes the normal day-to-day life things just feel like they're not good enough. So when you're looking at social media and you're just there eating a regular meal that you've prepared, you're looking there and you're seeing people eating lobster, they're going to 5-star restaurants and doing up all that stuff. And then you just think, wow, my life sucks. But your life doesn't suck. Your life is normal. I think it perpetuates a really negative hustle culture as well, that you need to be getting up at 5 a.m. and you need to get in an ice bath and all this kind of stuff. And I think that is just toxic, to be honest. You're constantly seeing all the amazing things that people are doing, and so you always feel like you have to climb the ladder, and so you're never in gratitude for where you're at. And that leads on to the second point about being present. We are so obsessed with trying to photograph and film our lives that we are completely taken away from being present in the moment. And one of the things I really hate is when, if you go to a concert and you see like everyone's looking through their camera lens at the stage. Nobody's looking at the stage of their eyeballs anymore. Everybody's looking through their phone. And I just don't think it's healthy to feel like you need to live your whole life through a camera lens. And that's exactly why I don't film my travel experiences either. What we have to remember is that social media is actually just a highlight reel of other people's lives. You could see someone who's like dancing on a yacht, but they're depressed as hell. But you don't know that. You're just seeing them and thinking, oh God, I'm not on a yacht. my life sucks.
It's time for me to shake my ass on a yacht.
They could be way less happier than you. You don't know that. You're just making assumptions. So we have to remember that it's a highlight reel, and the most important thing is how your life feels, not how it looks and how it's being portrayed to other people. It really doesn't matter what other people think about you. The only thing that matters is what you think about you. Number 3 is there's a lot of fakeness. Okay, so let's talk about face filters. We've become so accustomed to seeing people's faces looking just perfectly smooth that we forget what normal people's faces look like. And especially as women, we kind of see everybody's always wearing so much makeup. They've got all these filters that are smoothing their face and adding like contour and shaping their face and all this stuff. We've got Photoshop. And now when we look at our own faces, it makes us feel like we're ugly and not good enough. And this is a really big problem, I think, especially with teenagers growing up today. I just want to break up this video to show my face up close and personal. So first of all, I usually get like these small bumps on my forehead. Okay, this is me without any makeup. I get milia, which is like these little like milk spot bump things. I get like kind of rosacea, I think it's called. My skin is not completely clear. I have freckles, and this is what a real person looks like, okay? There's also the part that people are only showing when things are good. So people are only showing their relationship when they're really deeply in love. You know, people are only showing their food when it's like top notch, like 5-star kind of vibes. And nobody is just showing the normality. Nobody's going to say, well, I just had an argument with my partner today. So then when you have an argument with your partner, you then feel inadequate because you're comparing yourself to all of the couples on social media who are appearing to have these perfect lives. And they're not. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Social media makes you feel like everyone has a perfect life and you don't. And that's where the fakeness of it comes in. And I don't think that everybody is trying to be fake by showing the positive things in their lives, because nobody wants to post and say, well, I had a shit day and like I'm feeling depressed or whatever. Nobody wants to post that, but that is still going on. It's just behind the scenes. So I think it's really important to remember that. And my final reason is because I think overall it's pretty bad for mental health. I think it's a huge suck of our time, and we can spend so much time easily doom scrolling, which is ultimately damaging to our lives and damaging to our minds. And it gives us this kind of cheap dopamine, and our brains just get really frazzled. And this is something that is like scientifically proven to be damaging to us mentally. It stops us from forming real connections with people, and we feel like we're socially connected, but really we're not. Now let me tell you a story. I had recently come off of Facebook and everything, and I was on the phone with my mum, and then she started talking something about rabbits, and I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, oh, I thought you would know I had rabbits. I posted about it on Facebook. And I just, what do you mean? What do you mean you posted it on Facebook? You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. Your daughter, you thought that making a Facebook post was communication to your daughter. That's, you guys, the world's going wrong. That's all I could think when I saw that. Like, we're so messed up. Like, when did things get like this? It doesn't form real connections, which helps me to jump nicely onto the next point, which is about what I do instead of social media in order to stay really connected and form relationships with people and have some kind of like online presence. So number 1 is I focus on real life connections face to face. So I try to do things like go to events when I'm traveling, just like events of things that I'm interested in, events for meeting other like-minded people, networking stuff, things like that, whether it's online or offline. I go to a lot of things that involve actually speaking to other people one-on-one. I also have signed up to go to a co-living space in May in Italy, and that is going to be a big house where a bunch of other nomads live in there, and we can all hang out and talk and vibe. So I'm always looking for that kind of level of face-to-face interaction. Next is I join a lot of online communities that are actually relevant and are actually encouraging to my goals. So for example, I'm in a few Discord communities for songwriters because that is something that I'm passionate about, is something that I'm interested in, and it helps me to connect to other people that have my hobby, and that is actually helping me work towards the things that I want to work towards. Whereas just general like Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff is not really doing anything productive for me. And you know, it's not all about productivity, of course, it's about being social, that's the point. But this is helping me to be social, and it's helping me to connect with more like-minded people. In terms of an online presence, I have LinkedIn for my business. I have a marketing business. I do not keep LinkedIn on my phone though, because that helps me to prevent scrolling on it. I also have YouTube, obviously, but again, I don't have YouTube on my phone because then I find that I scroll on YouTube shorts. But I do really feel like YouTube is the place for me to fully express myself and be creative. I have a website too, and that is where I put like all of my written work. I'm a very creative person, and so I love to write, I love to make music, all of that kind of stuff. And my website is my safe space for me to fully express myself. Comments on social media can be another toxic thing too. And that's why I say my website really gives me a safe space to express myself without anybody being able to comment. And no, that's not because I can't handle criticism. It's because I don't really feel like I want to see what strangers think about me, especially if it's going to be negative. What's the point of that? It doesn't serve me, period. But of course, this is all just my opinion. I know that social media has its positives and its good points. That's why it exists fundamentally. I do think it's good to assess our relationships with social media though, and see which parts of it is benefiting us and which things maybe are not benefiting us, and work to maybe set different boundaries around it. And that is it for this video. I hope that you found this valuable or helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see you in the next video. Ciao.